Okay, let's show you how to do makeup and make it a little easier. Um, is for you. So I don't have anything on my face. I guess I won't. Okay. Don't have anything on my face. Oh wait, hold on. Let me put all this stuff up. Okay. Put on some chapstick. Okay. Let's get started. So, you do your skincare and all that. I just got out of shower, you know. But you do your skincare and all that. Where's my sunscreen? Sunscreen. That's my sunscreen. You know. Put sunscreen on. Protect your skin. You can put sunscreen everywhere, but I'm just putting it on my face. But it's sunscreen, so you put sunscreen everywhere. Okay. Sunscreen. Sunscreen. Jesus Christ. Okay. Spot Conceal. This is concealer. This one is closer to my skin tone. I'm gonna spot conceal with my concealer brush. This is flat. Try to keep it flat. Now mine is flat because I've been using it. So it's like kind of like stay flat unless I like move it out of the shape. But a newer brush, you'll have to like flatten it because you want it flat. You want it flat like this. You want it flat like a paddle before you use it for other stuff. But I'm about to spot conceal. You know how to do this part. Spot conceal. Not too much on the brush. You don't want to get too much. You just want to do a light layer, enough that the coverage is going to be there, but you don't want to put too much starting off. Like, you don't want all that because you're going to put more makeup on your face. So you don't need to start out with your makeup super cakey when we cake it on. Don't need to do that. There's no reason to do that. So yeah, I'm the darkest spots where I want to conceal. Do that. And I'll put it under my eyes. My under eyes are not super dark, but they are dark, and usually that shows through like foundation and stuff. So now for this, you can use it for like under eye and stuff, and like just like darker areas and stuff. You can use a color corrector, but that's like another thing. But concealer works fine. Alright, that's good enough. Okay, so it's very thin layer that you put on. Like I said, you don't put on a lot. You don't put on a lot. And now we're gonna move on to my eyebrows. What's my eyebrows? So I got my spoolie. That got the angled brush on the end. So I brush my brows in the front. I'll brush them straight in the very front. I brush them straight up so they can look more feathered, and then I like brush them to the side so I can lay them down. Now it's kind of hard to see my eyebrows because they part brown, part blonde, but you just do this motion. But yeah, so I brush it up in the very front, like the tip of my brow, and then to the side. Up, to the side. Oop. Yeah, up, to the side. Okay, now to fill in my brows, you're gonna really be able to see the shape because, like I said, I don't have my brows, so I'm kind of creating a brow because mine are so light, so it's hard for you to see them on camera. But so you'll be able to really see how I draw my eyebrows on or how I fill them in. So I get my, the color. I'm using the dark one. Get it on my brush. You can tap it off a little bit if you want to. It don't really matter. And then I start here. I start there in the front where the front of my brows at. I start there. You can make that a little lighter than the rest of the brow. But I start there and then I just kind of follow the shape of my brow. Now my brows aren't trimmed right now, so like the shape is kind of wild. So like if you get close, you can kind of see the hairs here, the loose, stray, random hairs that's like here. I kind of ignore those because those are what's gonna get covered up with concealer. They're not thick, so like you won't be able to see them through the concealer that good, but they're still there because my eyebrows aren't shaped right now. But I just kind of follow the shape of my eyebrow. Like that. I just follow the shape of my eyebrow. You kind of create it a little bit too because my eyebrows are so like sparse right now. You kind of create it, but I follow the shape of them. On the bottom, this is the bottom. And then top. The top, I don't start right in the front where this one is at. The bottom line is gonna be a little longer. With the when I do the top, I start back like here. I'll do it a little darker so you can see it. But yeah, see, that's where I'll start at the top. A little bit further back than the front. Because when I do my brow, when I fill it in and stuff, I want the front. The front needs to be the lightest part of the brow. You need it to be like a gradient. The darkest is the tail. The lightest is the front. You want it to be a gradient. So you don't want a super duper harsh front because then they're going to look like block brows. You don't want that. You want them to look like natural eyebrows, just shaped. So yeah, you just follow the top same way. So yeah, same like at the bottom. Like I said, my eyebrows not shaped, so I got hair right here. Usually I would use my razor and I would just like shape my eyebrows first, but I have hair right here. This is what's also gonna get covered up with concealer, and I don't want my eyebrows. The shape of my actual eyebrows is kind of like they like everywhere. So I don't want to, like if I did this, I would put, if I followed the actual shape of my eyebrow, like how it is when they're not trimmed, then it would be, I'll have really thick eyebrows and they'll be going way up here. And they'll just look crazy. They'll be way up here and way down here. That's not what we know. So, follow. And then I just connect it to the end with that bottom line. And then I kind of just fill it in with whatever's left is on the brush. Because I have plenty of product on the brush already. So I just kind of fill them in. Fill it in at the tip first. Get most of the product off at the tip. And then as you get closer to the front, you kind of be lighter because you already have less product on the brush. And then I kind of just push it up like that. If it's too sparse throughout the brow, you go in with your color and stuff, but the goal is, because you're probably going to need to go in with some more color. If it's like too sparse or it's like parts that are not completely filled in or it's not even, then you'll need to go in with some more color. But just remember to keep the front, you want the front to be the lightest part of the brow. You want this to be the feather part. So, and even if you do make it darker than you would like, remember, I don't have no extra product on the brush. I'm just doing that. And then you just take your spoolie and I just go through the front a little bit. I just feather the front a little bit. Go through. There you go. Do the same thing with the other side. Like I said, start right at the edge of my brow and do the same thing. Okay. And remember, like I said before, when you are filling in your brows, especially when they are not shaped already, filling them in is not the most, like getting the shape, I mean, is not the most super important part because you clean it up with concealer after that. So if you just fill them in and they look like super crazy, it really doesn't matter because you're going to, carving them out with concealer is the part that give you the shape of the brow, the real shape of the brows. So you kind of just fill them in. The only thing you want to remember is when you fill in your brows is, like I said, you just want the front to be lighter than the tail. Because you don't want it to look like block brows. A little bit more. Now see, I accidentally made this a little dark in the front than I would usually do. But it's okay. You fix that, you'll drag that product up a little bit. And then we'll fix that with when we do the spoolie. So I'm just making sure that I get everything colored, the dark brown, so that the color is there. And then that I just kind of see how it's kind of going away a little bit. And I spoolie, I just kind of make sure I go a little bit more aggressively at the front so it won't be so harsh. And you see how thick my eyebrows look right now, especially this one over here. They look super thick. They look super thick. Kind of untamed, but that's where the concealer comes in. It's giving like Sabrina Carpenter a little bit with the darkness and the thickness of my eyebrows, especially against my blonde hair. But Okay. Anyway, so eyebrows, they filled in. So then we're going to use concealer to carve them out. So I use my lighter concealer. It's not super light. If you have, okay, with the concealer, so you want to use one that's, I like to use one that's lighter on the bottom at least. I like to use one that's like maybe like a shade or something lighter than my skin tone. If you have one that's like your skin tone, I think the one that you have, the Maybelline one, what I would recommend for you, because that one is light. That one is like the one you're gonna use for brightening. So you want it under your eye. You want the lightness under your eyebrow so you can see the carve of the eyebrow. But sometimes it can look a little crazy, like cartoonish sometimes. So if it's a little bit too light, then take your light concealer. You don't need that much, especially if you're gonna mix it to make it a tad bit darker, which I would recommend, just so it's a little more natural. So you take your lighter concealer, either take some of your foundation or just use the foundation. Use your foundation and just put like a tiny little drop in, well, I'll show you. This is the Fenty Ease drops. I got my concealer. To make it a little bit darker, you just use like a drop, a tiny little bit. And then you're going to take your flat concealer brush, like this one, and you just mix it together. You just mix it together, mix. Now, you don't want to put so much foundation or so much of whatever the dark, if it's a dark concealer or whatever. You don't want to put so much of the dark product in the light one to where it just becomes like your actual skin color, because you want it to be a little bit lighter so it'll highlight. You can see the difference in the brow and it carves out the brow still. But if it's too light, the concealer that you have is too light, like if it's like 2 to 3 shades lighter than you, something that you would use to brighten, then you use a little bit of foundation to darken it. But you still want it to be a little bit lighter. You just don't want it to be 3 shades lighter than your skin tone. And then it'll look crazy. Unless that's the look you're going for. Unless that is the look that you are going for. So then, eyebrows. So we are, Alright, so we are here. So, you don't want to swoop, just do one big swoop, because usually that's how you mess up your eyebrow. Do it a little bit at a time, so you can find the shape of your brow and you can see how you want to shape your eyebrow. So I'm gonna start. I got a little bit on my brush. Like I said, it's flat. You want it flat. You just a little bit, because the color is gonna be on there, so you don't need a lot. A little bit, and you hold it kind of like, like a paintbrush. You hold it flat to your face. And just with like the tip of it, you just kind of go right under, right there where that brow starts, and you just draw the line right under there. Try to make it, to clean up that edge. You just go just to clean up that edge like that. And then I don't put no extra product on my brush. I just that line that I did, I just kind of blend it out a little bit, just so it won't be like a very, like here you can see the lightness where the concealer is at. I just try to make it just blend it out so it just won't look, so it won't dry like that and look crazy. It'll just look more natural. That's what we're going for. Yeah. So if you like that shape, move on to the next one. You can fix it if you want to. If you want your arch a little higher, or if you want to straighten out this one, or you just look at it and see if you like that, and then you just you just keep going, and you just You just keep going. Yes. All right. All right, now we move on to the next one. See, I still got enough product on my hair. I don't need no more. You just do the same thing. Same thing on this side. Can you still see me? Yeah, you still see me. Flat to your face. A little bit at a time. And some more concealer if you need to. Not too much. To your face. Follow the line. You can clean it up a bit. See. Clean it up a bit. A bit more. All right, see? Once you are happy with that, okay. So yeah, here we are. I was gonna, I feel like this is a little thick, so I'm just gonna, just a tad bit more. All right, and then same thing like you do on the other side. You just brush that down. Just brush it down, blend it. Now you can connect them here. It doesn't really matter because we're gonna, when you connect them, because we're not gonna do the 2016 unibrow that people was doing, because I hate that. I hated it then, hated it now. So we're not gonna keep it like this, but you can connect them if you want to see, try to see how symmetrical that you got your eyebrows. So you can connect it here by the concealer, so you can make sure that they are on the same, the bottom is on the same level. Now, with the top, usually, like I said, I like to use a lighter one here, and then the one that's more skin color here. Honestly, you can use the same, the same thing that you did for your bottom, you can use for the top, because you're usually gonna, I like to buff it out anyway, and then I'll like cover it with foundation on top of that as well. You can use the concealer that's closest to your skin tone here, like a darker concealer. Don't use the light one that you have here, unless that's just what you want to do. But you put the darker one here. You put the darker one there. Or like I said, you can literally just use the same thing that you did for this. You could do it, or just add a tad bit more foundation. If you have a lighter concealer, add a tad bit more foundation so it can be a little bit more darker than it was under here, just so it can match a little bit better on the forehead. So I'm just use this one. And then same thing. If you're using the one that's on your hand, same thing. If you have a pot like I do, it's the same thing. You just don't use too much. You see I'm scraping it like off on the side. You keep your brush flat. Keep your brush flat. All right, now while you are doing when you do the top, you still want to lay the brush flat, but instead of having it straight like this, you have it to the side, but you still want it flat against your forehead, against your skin, whatever. So you lay it flat, and the edge is really what you're using to like carve out the top. So you lay it flat, you get close to that line, and you just start drawing the line. Like you draw it, you do it in short strokes, just how you did at the bottom. You don't want to do everything in one line. Don't do everything in one line, especially when you're new doing your eyebrows. Do not do it all in one line, because then you're gonna mess up and you're gonna have to like kind of start over. It's gonna be a lot of, it'll just save you a lot of headache if you don't do it all in one line. So you just kind of, yep, draw that line. And be careful on the tail, because you don't want your tail too skinny on the end. You don't want it too skinny on the end, to where it's like super thick and then a little pencil, a little line over here. You want it to kind of, you want everything to kind of match. Like how, like now this is thicker for me than I usually would do. I'm gonna make it a little bit, I'm gonna make it a little slimmer. I'm gonna make my brow a little bit slimmer. It's not bad, but it's a little thicker in the front. And I'm not vibing with it that much. So I'm just show y'all how to make it a little skinnier. So you just go down a little bit. Don't go too much where you're going to be in the meat of the brow, because then that's going to look crazy. But you just want to gradually move in a little bit. And then you just make that, you just follow that throughout the rest of the brow to make it even, because you don't want like a Krampus brow or something like that. You want it to be straight. You want it to look natural. You want it to be straight, but you don't want to, if you like the thicker brows, then it's just all what you like, what works for you. The thicker brow, it wasn't bad. It didn't look bad. I just like it a little bit thinner like this. Like I like it a little bit thinner. So yeah, here's how you fix it. So you just make it a little skinnier, and then you just kind of, whatever's left on the brush, you kind of just like under here, you kind of just bring it up on your forehead, just so it can blend seamlessly. And now this brown is done. This brown's done. Now we're gonna do this one. Same thing. Same thing. A little bit. You want the brush flat on the flat, flat, flat. So you do the same thing on this end. More. Concealer. If you need to go back on the bottom, then go back on the bottom just to clean it up on the tail a little bit. That's what I'm gonna do here. All right, now you see this one is a tad bit thicker. This is how this one was in the beginning before I made it a little bit thinner. So I'm gonna do the same thing that I did on this side. I'm doing on this side. So I'm just gonna bring it down ever so slightly. Bring it down ever so slightly. See how I got thinner already? Already thinner. Bring it down a little bit more. I'll make it even with the rest of the brow. Alright. Now once you are satisfied with your brows, you know, you do the same thing like you did on the other side, you do it on this side. The rest of the brush, whatever is left on the brush, you just kind of make it so it's like blended. It's not a line of demarcation that's right up against the brow, you know. Because when you put your foundation on, when you go to put the foundation on, you're gonna get close to the brow, but you don't want to get so super duper close to where you start covering the brow, because it's easier to do that. So it's just, you kind of blend it into your skin, the concealer that's right up against, you kind of just blend it into your skin, so it'll be easier to blend once you put your foundation on. And then here, I kind of just, I don't put no extra product on the brush, but I just kind of separate this. Just kind of blend this a little bit and separate it a little bit. And then my brows look a little close together. I don't like that. So, and it's not because it's like the product, the dark product is here and here. It's just because the concealer, by contrast with the concealer, it just make and my skin is dark. It just make my skin don't have any concealer on it here or any product here, really. By contrast, it make my eyebrows look like they starting right here when they're really not. So I kind of just take the brush and just kind of go into my eyebrows very lightly. I'm not trying to really put no product there. I just kind of go lightly into my brow a little bit, pushing back a little bit. It's very lightly. Not putting no extra product there. You're just kind of pushing them back a little bit. See, they pushed them back a little bit. Push them back. I don't like them. I don't like my eyebrows looking like like it's a unibrow. I don't like that. So I just push them back a little bit. Mostly on the top. You push the top back a little bit more, because like I said, you want it to be like when I was drawing them on, you want it excuse me. You want it to be I started lining this one a little bit further than this. Started this lining a little bit further, and start filling it in a little bit further than it. So it's kind of the same thing. So you push them back a little bit. You push the top back a little bit further than you do the bottom. But look, see? Eyebrows. Now, last thing I'm gonna do to my eyebrows is because I powder my brows because when you take a picture, or when you take a picture, or when your faces start getting oily throughout the day, if you notice when people take pictures, their eyebrows will like disappear. It's because they're not powdered, and the oil and the creates a glare with like light, and it'll make the eyebrow like disappear in like a picture or something. So I like to powder my brows so they'll be a little bit more matte, and I got more time to like try to fix them or before that happens. So I just take my translucent setting powder. This is Laura Mercier. Let's take my translucent setting powder. Take me a little powder puff. Now you don't want to put a lot. So you see all that on the brush, on the powder puff? You don't need all that. So dump it. Now I'm talking like thin amount, the smallest amount, just enough to lock them in place. And then you just go over the brow. Now make sure you're happy with the brows before you lock them in place. Make sure you light the brow that you did before you lock them in place. But you just do that, and you lock them in place. And then I'll take my powder brush, and any extra that I brush it off. And you see how my brows are moving? Eyebrows. Done. Okay, now my face, I'm gonna take my fluffy concealer brush, and the places that I did the spot conceal, I'm just gonna buff out the edges of that a little bit, just a tiny bit. Not trying to rub it in, not trying to get rid of not trying to do none of that. I'm just buffing out the edges so there won't be a line of demarcation when you go to like put on foundation and all that. Like, you want the coverage to stay there, but you don't want like a line, a clear circle where you put the thing. So you kind of just buff it out just a tad bit, buff out the edges just a little bit. Now you can still see it there, but it's just not a circle on my face. And I have a lot of blemishes. I'm trying to get rid of them. I have a lot of blemishes on my face. So I may have a little bit more, and then under eyes, you just do the same thing. Same thing. Oh my God. Okay, now we can start with our foundation. Yay, foundation, 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 foundation. Okay. Oh my God. It's okay. I forgot to put on my primer, but that's okay. I'm gonna just show you. I'm just keep going. Show you. You really don't need a primer. I'm not gonna say you don't need a primer. It's because there are some primers that are good and that actually you will notice a difference, but you can do it without a primer. Trust me, I'm sure you can do it without a primer. I did without a primer for so long. Like, I just have a bunch of them, but because I have like an Ipsy ball, whatever. That doesn't matter. Foundation. So I just put my foundation on. I'll do 1, 2. I'll put a little one up here. I kind of just put the extra up there, and then I'll put a little bit here as well. Now I'm full coverage girly. Where's my brush? Where's my brush? Oh, here it is. So I got me a dense brush. Then I'm gonna start buffing it out. You don't have to worry about like under the eyes too much because we're gonna put concealer there. So you don't have to worry. Like, of course, if you get under your eyes, you get under your eyes. I'm not saying don't put it there at all, but you don't have to worry about it as much because we're gonna put concealer there anyway. So drag it here as well, just so everything can match. Alright, now here, like I said, when you're doing the eyebrows or you're doing around the eyebrows, you get close to them, but not on them. So you just get close, and that's why we did the concealer earlier. We buffed out the concealer earlier, so it won't be a super harsh line of like your foundation shade and then the light concealer here and then the eyebrow. No, you just get close enough to them and you just blend out that. Make sure that the concealer and the foundation kind of marry, so it won't look like a T, just like that. If you need to add more foundation, if you like it, you want some more coverage, add more foundation. And just make sure that it's blended out. Make sure that foundation you put on is blended out, girl. Jesus Christ. Okay. Now, I got my concealer. So, put a little here, a little there, same on the other side, a little here, a little there. I like to put some, like you could put it right here, a little tiny bit there, and then chin. You put the tiniest bit here, tiniest bit there. I might put a little bit on my forehead. And then our nose. I want me a cute little button nose. So on the tip of my nose, maybe a little bit higher than the tip, I put me a little there. Cause I have a wider nose, so I make it a little bit wider. But when you try to make it a little skinnier, just put a dot here and then make you an exclamation point. But no matter what, make you do the exclamation point. So right down the middle. And then I just stop there because like I said, I want a button nose, so I just stop there. All right, look at us. Look at us. Cute. Now you take your fluffy concealer brush, the fluffy one, fluffy concealer brush, the dense fluffy one. And I'll start blending here. I like to leave my under eyes the longest and my nose to get the fullest coverage of the concealer. But I'll start here. Start with the edges. With the edges, I bring it up to my top, my bottom lip, just so it won't look super dark under here as well. I just kind of spread it out. And again, when I'm doing anything, whether it's with a beauty blender or a brush, powder puff, whatever you use to apply your makeup, whatever utensil you use to apply your makeup, is really in this whether it's powder or liquid, cream, whatever, you buff. You don't drag, because that'll move the product, and it'll take the product off, and it'll make it look streaky, especially if you're using if you're using anything, because it does with beauty blenders too. If you dragging it, it's gonna make it look streaky and patchy. So you do that. You buff. You buff. You buff. 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 You buff. Again, I'm not adding no extra product. I'm just buffing it, making sure everything is blended, and it's a seamless blend. Seamless blend. Okay. All right. Now we can do our jaw. This is just to highlight the jaw a tad bit. Like I said, you don't need a lot here because you don't want to cut your cheek the way you looking like a drag queen, like Trixie Mattel. You don't want to do that. That's not what we're going for in this look. There's a time and place for that. We're trying to do a natural, cute beat, so you don't want to put too much here to where it looks like you cutting your teeth like Trixie Mattel. We don't want to do that. That's not what we're going for. That's not the look we're going for. You just want enough just so it can be a little bit highlighted, and that's it. That's it. The tiniest bit. Honestly, if you don't even put any here and you just use whatever is left on the brush, that'll be enough. That's enough there. But if you put some here, do not put a lot here. You do not need to put a lot here. Because see, look, I barely put any, and you can see the difference. You can see the difference from my foundation to this light concealer. You can see it. So that's enough. You don't need it. You just want to highlight the jaw a little bit. You don't need that much product. Okay. Blend, blend, blend. Blend, blend, blend. Blend, blend, blend. See that? Look at that. See? 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 Look at the mirror. Make sure everything is blended seamlessly. Make sure everything is blended seamlessly. And then we're going to go here. Start in the middle. And there we're going. And when you're putting on the concealer, you don't need as much as you think you do. You don't need to put as much on as you think you do. You may not even need to do all of this. I like to put it here as well, like down here, and because I like everything to be, I don't like having super light under eyes and then all of this is dark. It'll look like you have a beard. It looks crazy. So I like to put some here to make sure that it is, because usually, especially with black women, we're usually, sometimes it'll be darker like around here. It'll be darker like around our lips and like here. So I like to make sure everything is seamless and that my face is matching everywhere. And then you also like to bring the attention to like the middle of your face, like, because you like to highlight here, like in the middle, to bring the attention to the middle of your face. So I put it here, like I said, blend, blend, blend. I like to make sure that everything is matching. Make sure everything matches. See? That's enough concealer. It's more than enough concealer. Alright. Now I'll move to my forehead. Again, edges. Edges, 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 edges. See that? Edges, edges, edges. And then the center. See that? See? Excuse me. Edges. In the center. Perfect. Yeah, sorry, my eyes itchy. Okay, now we're gonna start with the eye. So I'm gonna start with the end. Bringing that out. And I also like to put it on my eyelid. I like to drag it to my eyelid as well. So I just, like I said, I like everything to match and blend seamlessly. I don't like it to just be a line here like a drag queen, like it's like I'm doing eyeliner or something. I don't like the line to just be here and then it's like it's dark here or it's dark like right under here and I don't know. You blend it all. And then the inner corner, same thing here. Now I'll drag it down the side of my nose a little bit. That's it on my eyelid. Bring it up to the eyelid. I'll drag it down the side of my nose just a tiny bit. So that's gonna be the start of my nose contour. Let's break it down. Side of my nose. Just make sure all of that is blended. See? Same thing on this side. Start on the end. We'll bring it out just a little bit. And we'll also put it on our lid. And blend, blend, blend. Same thing if you're using a brush or a beauty blender, it's the same thing. Same thing. Blend, blend, blend. And then bring it up side of your nose. On that part of the eyelid, up here against the brow as well. Bring it up side of your nose. And bring it down as well. Yeah. That's the start of our nose contour. You can already see the shape of the nose is what we are trying to do. Okay. Excuse me. Now with the nose contour, I'll start with this. Gently. Just pat, 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 pat. I'm not moving this anywhere. I'm not moving it anywhere. I'm literally just patting in the spot that it's in. I just pat it in. I'm not moving it anywhere because I want that to be there. So I'm not spreading this around anywhere. Just pat, 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 pat. It's gonna look crazy. But you just pat, 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 pat. Just pat it in. I'm gonna go ahead and do it with my bridge. Pat, 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 pat. Not moving it, just patting it in the spot of where it's at. And look, I don't have a nose bridge. Like, my nose is flat. It's kind of flat. So I don't really have a nose bridge here. So I'm kind of creating one. I guess the little nose bridge that I have, maybe I'm making it more pronounced. But yeah, you just pat, pat, pat. Pat, pat, pat. Pat, 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 pat. See? Now, I'm not gonna use this. That's all the cream products that I'm gonna use. I have cream bronzer and cream. I have liquid bronzer and contour and liquid blush and all of that. But Lexi, since this is for you, I'm not going to use any further cream products from here. It's just gonna be powder from here on out. Because that's what you have. That's the stuff that you have. That's the stuff you like to use. So I'm not going to use any more cream products. It's going to be powder from here on out. I have powder, the powder products too. So we got that. We need to set our under eyes. So just make sure that there's no creasing under your eyes. Now the concealer that I have is good. I don't have any creasing under my eyes, but if you do see any creasing under your eyes, just if it takes a little bit longer for you to get to set your concealer, just take the brush that you use for the concealer and just go under your eyes. Again, just like buff it so you can get rid of the creasing, and then we're going to set our under eyes. So, I will be using my Laura Mercier. This is the translucent again. Excuse me. All right, so I got it. I got my little triangle. And here I'm just trying to set my under eyes. So I'm not baking. So I don't need too much, like, I don't need all that powder that you use for baking. I don't need that much. So I put some on there. Now tap it off on my hand. Tap the extra off on my hand. Now I take because it's in a triangle shape already. So I just take it and I just fit it right right there in the pocket of where my nose is at and my eye. And I just drag it here. And this is the first dip for that. Yeah, see? I'm going in again, tapping off that extra. Tapping off the extra. And I'll go in again. This time I'll go on my eyelid as well because I want to set that concealer up there as well. And then I'll just bring it up against where I put that concealer at, against my nose. Make sure you get it in the corner of your nose too. But yeah, just. Yep. Alright, same thing with the other side. Oh, I accidentally put myself in the eye. Oh, shoot. Hold on, I accidentally put myself in the eye. Oh, man. Okay. And now you kind of just use the translucent setting powder, and the same how you did it up there, you'll set everywhere else you put concealer. Everywhere else you put concealer. Remember, tap it on your hand whenever you go in for some more, just so it won't be so much and look so cakey and patchy. Kind of make it smooth. That kind of smooths it. I don't know who that is. I don't think I want to answer that. And remember, we did drag the foundation down here as well, so you know, set that too. You ain't gotta put no extra powder down there, but like, put some down there. You know, this enough. This just so it won't be. You know, if you did drag some down there, so just, you know, don't forget to set it, so you don't have no cream or liquid powder. I mean, foundation just sitting there. All right, here as well. Let's see. Alright, we'll put some on our forehead. So we're gonna do the forehead as well. Alright, now for the nose contour, I like to go a little bit heavier. It's kind of, I guess it's baking your nose. I guess it's baking the nose. So this is the bake that we're gonna do. This is the bake. Just because I like I need the coverage of this a little bit more here on my nose, because I want the contour to, I want to contour my nose for a reason. So I want the coverage to be there. So I put the powder on the dot that I made and on the exclamation point. I go, like I said, I go heavier with the powder here. I'm not dusting enough of it off on my hands. And if you really want to get crazy, you'll bake under the eyes as well. Just here up against the nose contour. It's really for the nose contour. Just like that. Just like that. Up against. It's for the nose contour. Just like that. Okay. So, what we can do now, if you have now, like Lexus, you have a you have a pressed powder. So all I want you to do is get your pressed powder and set the rest of your face. Set the rest of your face with that pressed powder. You don't need a lot for like the coverage to be super prominent, but set the rest of your face with the pressed powder. I don't have a pressed powder that I, at least not a pressed powder I would want to use for that as far as like the color. So I'm just using it's another Laura Mercier. Laura Mercier, this is the deep color. I'm just using this to set the rest of my face. I also have Oma Beauty, but I ain't gonna use them. And now I'm just gonna tap it off, cause it's a loose powder. So, but yeah, you just set the rest of your face. Set the rest of your face with the color powder. Bring it down here if you want to. Just set the rest of your face with the color powder. Set the rest of your face with the color powder. Boom. Okay. Now we're going to contour. We are going to contour our faces. This is the contour palette, Lexus. Contour palette. Get your contour brush. I like to use a fairly fluffy brush for my contour. But you know which fluffy brush, which brush we use for your contour. But yeah, you get the darkest one. The darkest one. And then you just right in the pocket of your cheek. So you can kind of see it already. You can see it here. That's where I'm trying to build the shape of my face. Here. You can see it. And then, of course, forehead. But on the cheeks, and you just do it back here. You don't drag the darkness down here. You don't want to do that. Here. You keep it here, and you buff towards your hairline. And you don't need as much as you think, because look, the color is there. The color is there. And if it gets too harsh, we can fix that. But you brush towards your hairline. to create the shadow on your face. In the pocket of your cheek, towards the hairline. Look, you can see the shadow. You can see it. Same thing on the other side. And I'll also just bring it all the way around the perimeter. Don't want to use looking forehead, so I just bring it around the perimeter of my hairline. And I like, this is why I like a fluffy brush for like my contour and like bronzer and all of that type of stuff. Because I feel like it's easier to make it, to not make it patchy. Because when you have like an angular brush, it's a little bit harder to make sure that the contour isn't super duper concentrated and super duper patchy. So I like the fluffy brush because it diffuses a lot better to me. I like how my contour looks with that. It's easier to diffuse. And you can, I don't put no extra product on my brush when I do this. I just kind of just bring it under my jawline, because you don't want a chin strap, like, again, Trixie Mattel, like a drag queen. You don't want a chin strap. That's not what we're going for. It makes it like we have a beard or a super defined line of demarcation. You don't want that. So I just kind of just bring whatever's left on my brush, I just bring it down here under my jawline. Okay, look at that. See. Excuse me. Now, if you don't have a bronzer, then you have like a palette like this, a contour palette like this, then you can use this color, because usually the middle color is warmer. But you can use this middle color. As you see, I use it as well. But you can use this middle color to kind of like marry the lightness of the concealer to the darkness of the contour. So that's what I use my bronzer for. Also, the bronzer warms up the face, but I like to use it, of course, to warm up my face, but I also like to use it to marry my contour and my concealer shade. So I got another fluffy brush. Like I said, I like to use fluffy brush for my contour. I'm going with the darker one here first. And then you put it right kind of closer against the contour, but right above it, like right here is where I put it at. Just to marry these colors together a little bit more, so it won't be a super harsh line. Same thing here, right in the middle of those two. Same thing here, right in the middle of those two. Okay. I'll bring it down here just for funsies, but focus it here. Focus it there. And then I also like to go in with the lighter one to marry it together even more. I do the same thing. And this one is gonna be the one that, at least for me, for mine, this is the one that really warms up the face. So I just, that's it. Towards the hairline, brush it towards the hairline. Same thing. Warm up the face. Towards the hairline. Towards. You kind of can use this. I also like to use the bronzer to, like, when I use a blush, especially if it's like an orangey, a more orangey blush. I like to put, like, because you can use the warmer of the bronzer to, like, marry the blush and the bronzer together, and then it'll look really nice. But yeah, so you can kind of put the lighter one right where you would put your blush, which is a little bit further up than where you put the bronzer for the contour. So you got the contour, bronzer, and then you'll have the blush somewhere here usually. So you can really put this one, this lighter one, right where you would put the blush at. Okay, so that's done for that. On the outside of my face. Now, I like to use my bronzer for my nose contour. Now, sometimes, usually with like lighter people, or if you have a super red bronzer, super orange bronzer, then I wouldn't recommend to put it here because it'll sometimes it'll look crazy, especially on white people. It'll look crazy if you have like a super red contour. So like that's why they usually use their usually do use your actual contour for your nose, because it's more gray tone and it doesn't look crazy sometimes. But darker skin people, like my shade, maybe darker, I like to use my contour for my nose because it doesn't look super warm to where it's like, girl, you got red on your nose. It looks nice. It looks cohesive. It looks cute. And then I put bronzer. I put blush on my nose anyway. So, but yeah. So I just take mine. I'll go back and forth between both of these. Because I don't like my nose contour to be, I don't like a super strong nose contour. And I don't like it to be looking so like I got two lines on my face. You know what I mean? Like I'm not the biggest fan of that for like natural looks. There's a time, like I said, there's a time and place for that. But I'm not looking for that for no natural look. I'm not looking for it. So yeah, I got these two. Go back and forth. And I will start here. Right under my brow. I deepen that up because that'll give the illusion of nose bridge. Because nose bridge it's just not like this. When you have nose bridge, you know, you can kind of see the contours of your brow bone as well. Because all of that, you know, is like the same bone or same group of bones. So here. And then you can bring this bronzer over like under the eye and stuff. So like, you know, you can do that too. But yeah, so I just under the brow, just so everything can look seamless. You can bring it over as well. And then you just, if you have a little smaller brush, I like the fluffy brush because like I said, it makes it so that there isn't like a super harsh line. When you have a fluffy brush, it's easier to diffuse. So I just go in right up against the white, the powder, right up against the powder, just create some shadows. If you wipe off your powder, it's okay. Because you can go back in with the powder if you need to. And then I kind of, like I said, button nose. I'm trying to do the button nose, so I just kind of cover all this with dark. Just make that a little bit darker, or a lot darker. I just make that darker. Like you get down here, just make that darker. Bring it right up against the light little dot that we did. Don't forget to put a little bit there and just kind of make that dot more pronounced. And like I said, with the bronzer, I kind of I'll bring it onto my eyelid as well, just so everything will look seamless. Just kind of bring it onto my eyelid, and then it'll give my eyelid some dimension as well. So it's not that big of a deal, you know. It'll look nice. Okay. Look at that. It's not bad. Not bad. So yeah, see that? See my nose. See, I wiped off a little bit of my what's the face? So I'll just go back in with it a little bit. Go back in with it a little bit. Just bring it right back where I had it at. Right back where I had it at. Right there. I'll put a little bit back on my nose. Right there. Oop. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Cute. Alright, now I'm going to use my blush. I have a lot of makeup on my hands. Now I'm putting on my blush. I want to use... I have quite a few blushes to like choose from. So I got, this one was the Volume 5 Juvia's Place. I have Volume 4 Juvia's Place. I have Volume 1 Juvia's Place. She makes really good blushes if you haven't. But I also have 2 of them in liquid. I have 2 of them in liquid. And then I have, this is also a very nice blush. It kind of smells like cherries. It's some cherry palette. These are nice blushes too. This one has a little bit more shimmer. This has more shimmer in it. This one is a matte blush. And then there's 2 highlights in this palette. This is also a nice blush to use. I have a lot of blushes. Like I have a lot. You can use eyeshadow for blush. There's like so many things that you can do. I am going to use, I'm gonna use this one. Actually, I was gonna use this because I really like this color. This is a newer palette I got, but I really like these pinks, orangey and reddy pinks. I really like this. This is really cute, really cute. This is gonna be my new favorite. But I'm gonna use this. Use both of these actually. I'm gonna use both of these. Where's my blush? Oh. Dang, where's my, here it is. Like I said, I like to use fluffy brushes for a lot of my makeup. You'll get a pack of brushes and it'll say on the side what it's for, or what it's for. But you gotta just figure out how you like to apply your makeup and what works best for you. Like I said, I like fluffy brushes for a lot of the stuff that I use for my face, because it blends better and you can diffuse it a lot easier with the fluffy brush versus a precision brush. So there are some blush brushes that people will use. Like people use this for a blush brush. People use this for a blush brush, but it's pointed and it's smaller, so it's just more precise. I would use this for like a highlighter brush. It's a fluffy highlighter, but I'll use that for a highlighter brush. Or people use, like here's another one for blush. Or people use brushes like these. People use brushes like these for blush as well. The angular brush, they'll use that. I mean, there's just, you could just use what you want to use. Like I said, I like to use fluffy brushes for a lot of the stuff that I use my makeup for. As you can see, I don't need it for my contour, bronzer, blush. So, I'm gonna go into the orange one first. I like a lot of blush. Don't feel like you gotta put a lot of blush on. I like a lot of blush. I'm going in with the orange one first. And then I'm just right there, kind of where you had put the bronzer, the lightest one, right there. And I bring it to the apples of my cheeks as well. Like I said, I like a lot of brush, but I bring it to the apples of my cheeks. I like the fullness that it. Look at that. Look how pretty that is. Yeah, let's do it to the other side. Let's give you some life to your face, a little warmth, cuteness. Look at that. All right, now like I said, I'm going in with this one too, because this one is more purpley. So I just put a little bit. I just put enough so you can see the color. I'll put a little bit on my chin too, because I just like the flush look. Not too much, but just enough. Just enough so the color, you can see a flush of color. Some people like to put it on their foreheads too. But it's just really where you want to put the blush at. You know, blush is not a thing that you have to, you know. So, for me to put blush on my nose, you don't have to do this part. You skip this step if you are not a blush person that you want to put it on your nose and all that. So while this is still on my nose, I don't brush it off completely. But of course, while I put blush on my nose, some of it's gonna get off. So I just kind of I put it under there. See, some of it's getting wiped off a little bit. I'm not concerned with that. I had to put it on my nose. Put it on my nose. Now we can wipe that off. So I'll take my big powder brush, and I did wipe that off. See? And now we got our nose. See, we got our nose contour. Look at that. Now you can see how dusty my face is looking. You can put I like highlight. So I'm gonna use a little highlight. You can skip this part if you want to. I would suggest to put it on. You can use the contour palette if you don't have a separate palette. You can use this contour palette because it comes with the highlighter here that I think is actually really good. So I'm gonna use that actually. This is one of the highlighter brushes that I have, like for precision highlight. I like to use this for like the inner corner, tip of my nose and the inner corners, because it's like a pencil brush. It's like small, precise. So yeah, you just go in there. And then you just put it. Then just rub it out with your finger a little bit, kind of make it not so. Look at that! Look at that! And then you can put it. I like highlight, so I'm gonna put some on my cheeks. You don't have to do this. If you like how the copy paste Latino look, when they just put it on like their nose and they have like a matte face and they just put it on their nose, do that. I love that look. I think it looks so pretty. I just really like highlights, so I'm gonna put it on my cheeks as well. So yeah, I'll just use another fluffy brush. Just use another fluffy brush. It's kind of flat, fluffy. I'll just go into that highlight. Oh my god, class is starting in 15 minutes. Alright, and then I just, it's not too much. Just a nice little highlight. Oh, that was a little bit much more. Okay, so got all of that. Now, spray our face. You should get everywhere you got that powder at, child. Okay, so um all right. I mean, so this is really the base. Like from here you can do, you can add oh my God. From here you can do the, you know, eyeliner. I like eyeliner, mascara. You put on your lashes, put the fake moles on your face. I would do that, but I have class that I need to get to like in like 10 minutes. So yeah, you could do that from here, and then, you know, lips and all that. I can show all of that. I don't know. I'll do another video on that. I just have class right now that I have to get to, so can't do it today. But this is basically, this is the base. So from here you can kind of do what you want to do, but this is the base. This is the base. I have more than one way to that I do, that I can do my makeup, or that I usually do my makeup. This is just like mostly the powder stuff. I have liquid stuff and I have cream stuff, so if you want me to do another video for that, I can. This to show different ways that you can do your makeup and all that. But yeah, so yeah, so okay, bye.